Greetings all. Paul Lytle from the Paul Lytle Agency in Fulshear, Texas. Wanted to talk a little bit today about deductibles. Now, this is something that most of us have encountered. You know, you see it on your declarations page for your car insurance. You are asked for one when you go to the doctor's office. The deductible is what the insured, you, me, pays in the event of a covered loss before the insurance company pays. So let's say I have a $500 deductible on my car for collision coverage. I run into a pole and I take my car in, and the car is $1,000 to fix. I'm going to pay my $500, and the insurance company is going to pay their $500. Let's say it's $10,000 to fix. My car isn't worth $10,000, but let's just say it was, for fun. I'd still pay my $500 because that's my deductible. And now my insurance company is paying $9,500. And so on and so forth. Whatever the cost of the repair is, I'm paying that first, and then the insurance company is. Now, deductible is actually where you can save some money on your auto insurance, but it's advisable to really actually talk through this and actually learn what the deductible is and think through what you're going to do with it before doing so, because most people get deductibles backwards. Actually, first of all, when you're buying an auto policy, most people just put down, here in Texas, is $500 because that's pretty much standard. Everybody's just dropping $500 deductible on it without thinking about it. But when people get it reversed is the young guy who can't, doesn't have a lot of money, maybe right out of college, right out of school, doesn't want to spend that much on car insurance, but knows, it is important to have comprehensive and collision, or other than collision and collision, on the policy. Say, well, it'd be a lot cheaper to put $1,000 on there. And it is a lot cheaper. But here's the problem. Then an accident happens. I don't have $1,000. And now I can't get my car, so I can't even earn $1,000 because I can't get my car out of the shop. I can't get my car back. And the number of times that I have been on a phone call where that very thing is said, it would astonish you. They bought the policy based on the premium price, not thinking about what would happen in the event of an accident. Meanwhile, let's say we got a guy, he's middle-aged, his kids are growing up. He's he's done well for himself. He's done very good. He's got some money in the bank. He's got a good income. And so he's thinking, well, now I can afford all the bells and whistles on my insurance. Let's bring that deductible way down. Let's get it down to like $250. Then if an accident happens, I'm only shelling out $250. That's the guy who can actually afford $1,000. If an accident happens, the car's in the shop, a week later he comes to pick up the car, he's the one who can actually take $1,000 out of savings. And so that's the guy who should be looking more into a higher deductible. And so it works kind of backwards, because unfortunately, the guy who doesn't have any money is the one who really needs the lower deductible and therefore the higher premium. Where the guy who has some money in the bank might not need it, might not need a lower deductible, and so maybe should take it up a little bit higher and save some money on premium. And if that weren't complicated enough, you also have two types of deductibles on your car insurance. First is collision, and that's when you're in an accident. You run into someone or something, or somebody runs into you. And then you have what some companies call comprehensive coverage and other companies call other than collision. And that's hailstorm. That's when you hit a deer. That's when a rock flies up and chips your windshield, or cracks your windshield, or something like that. It's all the kind of other stuff that can happen on the road. And that has a separate deductible as your collision deductible. And maybe you just put them all at the same level. But one thing you might want to think about is the comprehensive or the other than collision coverage is normally cheaper than your collision deductible, and you're going to use it more often. You're more likely to have a crack in the windshield, or hail damage, or something falling on your car. And so you might set that deductible lower than your collision deductible because it's not as expensive to have a lower deductible on that. So I bring up all of these questions not to give you a formula on how you should handle it. I bring up all of these questions because this is one of the importances of having an agent who can walk through these things for you. And also one of the importances of actually going back to that same agent, once a year to have an insurance review, to actually look at your policy to make sure that it's right for your circumstance. We might be able to, in a year, to raise your deductible level as you're able to afford more and save you some money that maybe didn't make sense a year ago. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to give you a magic formula here in a video about what deductible levels you should or should not have. But one thing I would encourage you to do is to sit down with an agent who is very knowledgeable about these things and walk through it with the agent. Every time I see somebody who comes to me for a quote and they currently have 500 deductibles on comp and collision, the question runs through my mind: does anybody talk to these people about deductibles before? Maybe they did. Maybe somewhere along the line someone did, and 500 just made the most sense at the time. Or maybe they're just putting it down because that's what people put down. So this is a conversation that we want to have with all of our potential customers and all of our current customers. We really do want to have an annual insurance review with our customers. And that is to look at issues just like this one. So if this is something that you'd like to talk to us about, give us a call. Anybody in my office would love to talk to you about it, to take a look at the coverage you have, and to give you suggestions on what needs to be changed and what we might be able to do for you.